Welcome to a new video on Hack on E30 channel. Can you believe this, guys? I bought this E34 none running for about $1,000 delivered. It was sitting for a while, and then the guy was selling it for like $3,000. And after a while, I offered $1,000 and he said yes. And I told him, okay, I don't have means to deliver it. I mean, to pick it up. And he said, I'll deliver it for you. So here it is. I'm checking all the body, and I can see that it's not an original Arizona car. It came from north somewhere. And there's some small rust, and there's a rear bumper cover that it's cracked and missing. And then the rear muffler is not held properly. Some rust on the other side. That's typical, all the salt from the road gets in there. And then there's a mess. Look at that. Like, what kind of person owned this vehicle? Drive through, spilling everything, eating in the car. The BMW was not designed for this kind of stuff, for these kind of people. You're not supposed to eat in everything in your car, but that's tradition in the United States of America. Drive through and coffee and everything, and Slurpees. And then you can tell what kind of person owned this vehicle when all this dirt in there and everything, and never cleaned it up. That person is not going to maintain the vehicle. The radio actually works. Cassette deck plays the cassette fine. Glove box doesn't close. There's some coupons for the Burger King in there. Owner's manual is there, and I found out that the first owner bought the vehicle in Chicago, brand new in '95. So this pump was new, and not the previous owner, but the guy that bought it, he changed it and didn't work and let it sit for another 2 years, and I guess the fuel here in Arizona, man, if you leave it for 2 years, it becomes glue. So he didn't want to start, and then he bought a new starter. He put the starter in. Doesn't want to crank still. This is what's in the trunk. Obviously, like, when you're selling a vehicle, at least clean it up. The changer is operating. It's putting the CDs in, but it's not playing the discs. That's the CD changer cover. The legendary MS-60. It doesn't crank. Obviously, it's not starting. So the guy that bought it from the person couldn't get it to start. He changed a bunch of parts. He messed with it. He changed the fuel pump. He changed the starter. Still no crank. You can see that mice or rats were, when the car sits here in Arizona, we have mice or rats called pack rats. They just get in everywhere and just chew everything up. I'm checking what kind of engine computer it has. So it has the EWS block. It's a silver label. Manufacture date is actually October 95, which surprises me that it's not labeled as a 96. So I'm going to check the fuel tank here, and I immediately saw that from sitting, that's what happens. It's going to start like rusting. The fuel tank in E34 is steel, so it's just going to start rusting. I'm telling you guys that the fuel in Arizona, the blend that they use, if you let it sit for 2 years or longer, that fuel becomes like a salt. It becomes acid. It starts eating away, rusting the tank inside. We can see the strap broke from the rust because the vehicle is from Illinois originally. I got all the trash out of here. Bunch of trash. If you're selling a vehicle and you don't even clean it up, I mean, that kind of tells you what kind of person you're buying it from. You can see the fuel tank. The fuel is all amber color. It's supposed to be clear, and you can see the patina or surface rust inside the fuel tank. That's typical if you let it sit, even in a dry climate here in Phoenix, Arizona. Got the fuel pump out. The actual fuel pump itself is new, but it's stuck because the guy let it sit for another year or so. But the wires to the fuel pump are all messed up, degraded. And this is typical for the 95 year. And so obviously it's not going to work. And this whole setup right here is like really expensive to buy a new. So what I'm doing right now, I'm getting all the fuel out of there and using the carburetor low pressure pump, get it all out of there through the filter. I'm going to reuse this fuel in another car that I'm driving it, you burn it out. I'm not going to toss it out. And right now I'm putting fresh fuel in this makeup fuel tank that I made outside, and just getting all the fresh fuel through all the lines throughout the vehicle, get it all flushed out, because I want to make sure the fuel is 100% clean. And you can see this is the old fuel. It's all amber color. It looks like a whiskey. Because this is so expensive, I'm gonna isolate these wires for the fuel pump and try to fix it the best way I can, because I don't want to spend another $500 on this and find out that the engine is bad or something like that. So idea is to get it running as cheap as possible. Even the rubber fuel lines rotted out. It's unbelievable. So I'm going to replace just the high pressure side. Here it is. New rubber line and isolated wires. I cleaned the fuel tank as best as I can. I know there's going to be some trash in there, but right now I just need to get it running for at least a short period of time. It's funny how the fuel pump goes in the E34. I mean, it's so outdated. So I put that in, and still doesn't start. I mean, doesn't even crank. So I see that the key tumbler is broken. You can turn the key, but it's not turning the ignition switch. And the whole ignition switch was all chewed out. So I had a spare ignition switch. I changed that to a new one, to a good working one. Still no crank. So there's something wrong with the EWS 2 control unit. So I'm testing it all right now, and then still doesn't start. And I'm looking through these relays, they're supposed to be for ignition, and I can see that the guy switched it out. He was diagnosing this, and he switched out the relays, and he put a 4-prong in the spot for the 5-prong, so the whole section wasn't getting any power at all. So I switched them out. Still nothing. See, the EW2 now connects to the starter directly. Hey! I was testing the starter, the spare starter that was in the vehicle, so it's all good. There was nothing wrong with the starter, so right now I got two good starters, and you can see the car runs fine. So at first, I don't know what the issue was for the EWS2 unit. He just didn't want to get the starter working. And I had to go to wrecking yard to get the new ignition switch tumbler, and that's the one from 94 without EWS 404 black label. I bypassed the unit for now just to diagnose it. See that BMW service action? They used to replace the program because there was an issue with the Nicosil block. Nicosil block was rusting due to the high sulfur fuel in USA 95. See, this is the broken ignition switch tumbler. It's unbelievable. It's like I bought a car with a bunch of broken shit.
A lot of car shows anymore. I like the one on 67.
Man, I came here to get that oil pan for my swap, E30 swap M50. What's up with that, man?
I don't know, man.
Man, you beat me to it. I can't believe it.
Gotta be quicker than that. I was here yesterday pulling in, and I kind of missed a couple bolts.
Yeah, I pulled fuel, man. It's a pain in the ass. And I've done it in the summer.
Yep. Okay, the only thing I'm missing is the dipstick. Okay.
So there was one at the junkyard, so I had to destroy the whole thing just to get to the part that I need. So I'm gonna buy the whole thing. The whole ignition, mechanical part of ignition switch. See how it looks. Also I had to replace the what is a PCV unit or oil separator on the 95 M60. It's like really bad design. It's gonna allow the oil to pool right there in the intake manifold. So that always breaks and people don't know about it. It doesn't run right. I see that there are aftermarket catalytic converters, and I know the doors are notorious not to last long, and I gotta go to emissions now. Now the car is running fine, I gotta go take it to emissions to pass in order to register it. So I'm kind of worrying that they're not gonna clean the air enough to pass. So I'm here at the emission testing, dyno emission testing is required for the OBD1 in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was lucky, pass without flying colors. This tells me that this engine is really good. It passed with aftermarket catalytic converters. That means it's really burning clean. So I'm happy about that. So right now, I'm gonna have to register vehicle. So I'm investing more money in it now that I know that it's running. But this is, check it out guys, this is the general module for E34 1995. And see these four capacitors right here, 1 2 3 4, they lose value over time, and this module quits working. So what I did, I got another one, and the other one had the same problem. These capacitors lost value. So what I did is I had some See right there? I had some extra ones out of an old TV set. Same exact values, and I replaced them. And now the module is working. And look at this, there's a bad connection right here, look. Now it's not working. So see these connectors right here on the bottom of this? See that? I move that and then loses the connection. Listen. Here's the socket where general module plugs in, and I suspect that these right here are loose. These right here are loose. Are not grabbing the prongs properly on the module. So I'm gonna bend them just a little bit just to tighten them up. I'm fixing the headlight right now. I'm just replacing the front lens, the glass lens, instead of just replacing the whole thing. I'm just gonna glue it in. And the whole problem about the vehicle starting was the general module factory alarm. This vehicle has a secondary anti-theft deterrent in the general module that if the general module is bad or it doesn't get power, it's not going to allow you to start the vehicle. I'm going to change the emblem. This is really easy. Dremel out the old stubs. Yeah. General module on all these E34, 94, 95 years, I think, when the general module is bad or those capacitors go out, it's going to drain the battery. It's going to prevent you to start the vehicle. So right now I'm going to put it in a lift and inspect everything underneath the E34 to see what I need to do now that it's running. I'm glad that it still has the stock muffler, because many people, they just chop it off and they're really hard to find. I see immediately that the transmission mounts are completely rotted out. Nobody ever serviced this vehicle. And the gibbo, the flex disc, is also rotted out dry, becoming a pot. So I got to change that immediately, invest more money. The carrier bearing for the drive shaft is good. See the difference? Look at these mounts for the transmission, unbelievable, man. They're from 95. They're original. So whoever owned this BMW never services, and it's amazing that it's running still. Changing the hood supports. I hate when I buy a vehicle and the hood supports are shot. Nobody changes these. I have to have the hood open properly and safely. So I gotta buy these, and then it says made in Germany, and you look at the actual part and it says made in Romania inside. I mean, what a scam. The legendary Snap-on scanner MT2500, the brick. Codes only. Gear monitoring 100 and 101. 106. So I got 3 codes. So I invested all that money getting the vehicle registered and changing those parts. And now the transmission is slipping and making more and more noise. So I was thinking that the fuel filter was bad or old, and I can see debris inside the oil pan for the transmission. What is it? 5L? I don't even know the transmission name, but it's one of the early ones. And the fluid is brownish, so I'm thinking the the transmission cooler is compromised. The water is getting in there, and you can see the clutch debris. Once you get that debris inside the transmission oil pan, look at that. Look at that junk. That means the transmission is done. There's no reason to try it and change the fluid or the filter. 5HP30 is the transmission number, and you can see the debris in there. It's done. And these transmissions are not cheap, and they're a pain in the ass to replace. So I'm checking out the CD changer now. I really want it to work. I want to keep it all original, but it feeds the disc and it doesn't read it. And it's such a shame. I don't know what the deal is. Somebody leave in a comment if you know what it is. I took the exhaust off because I'm going to keep the exhaust. Actually, I'm parting out the vehicle. I'm taking out the engine. It's not worth fixing anymore. I'm not going to put any money into it. Later on, I'm going to regret this, but yeah, start the legendary M60 P40 without exhaust. I love the sound. Let's listen to it. Also, the engine is mixing oil, and this is why I think that the transmission oil cooler is compromised. So it's mixing both fluids. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all the braking system off, and I'm going to take the engine, and I'm going to use this engine to swap it into E30. Now that I know it's all good, and I have everything that I need, so I'm going to remove all of that. Try to cut my losses. Everything's out of the car now. I took the transmission apart to see what really was the problem. And what happened is that the water was getting inside the transmission, and it was delaminating clutches. It was making the clutches rust and flake off. Look at that. The clutch material off the clutches. And it was getting everywhere. So because the car was sitting so long with the fluid, with the water in the transmission, it rusted, the surface rusted some of these clutches, these steels, and it made the clutch material flake off. Look at that. Unbelievable. And this is the corporate. I guess these go bad all the time. They're junk. So it mixed everything. I'm going to test it later. I didn't know at the time, but I tested it later and you find out that it's compromised. So it was mixing both fluids, transmission and engine. I'm going to take that off, the remote booster. I'm going to need that for my swap. So it's not a complete loss. I mean, I get a bunch of good parts and I invested, what, $1,500 in the whole thing. Get all of the fuel out of there. I'm not gonna dump the fuel. Get the fuel out of there. Drill a hole. Get the last drop out of there. Reuse it. This is the pump that I put in like a month earlier. Look at all the junk that the pump starts sucking. So the new fuel will have additives that they'll just start dissolving the rust, and that's what you get. Look at all that rust. It's like sand. Looks like sand right now inside the fuel tank. get some of the parts out of there, and I'm gonna take it to the junkyard and see how much I'm gonna get for the whole chassis. Basically, there's no engine in some of the parts, but all the transmissions back in there, all the wheels. So the weight of the vehicle is 2,700 pounds as it sits right now. So I'm gonna see how much money I get at the junkyard, and basically, it's not even worth it towing it there. $164, man. Look at that. For 2,700 pounds, you get $164. But a joke. At least I get some money out of it, you know. And right now I'm checking the engine with the camera, with the borescope. And I found out that the Nicosil block, it's still Nicosil. It's not Ausil, it's still Nicosil. And if that survives, it's a good engine. It has a nickel plating. So most of the cylinders are good. But there's one cylinder that has scoring up and down. And that kind of worries me, but so I don't know. Maybe it's a total loss for me. Like even the engine is not good. See right there? One of the cylinders has that scoring. It passed emissions, but that doesn't look good at all. There's gonna be some blow by. Maybe that's why there's some oil inside the intake manifold. So total loss. See? See this right there, the transmission oil cooler broke inside and caused all of these issues, man. All this time and all this money wasted. And then I put some of the parts for sale online, and like nobody called. Like nobody needs parts for E34. So this is going to be for this project, for this video, a total loss E34 540i. Unbelievable. Thank you for watching and subscribe.